For many anglers the world over, broadbill swordfish are the ultimate game fish. Broadbill are a nocturnal feeder, so night sorties are often the preferred option here in Australia. But I had heard of a technique developed by Nick Stanczak in Florida, where he fishes for broadbill during the day. Nick's charter boat is based at the famous Bud and Mary's Marina out of the sport fishing port of Islamorada on the Florida Keys. This is the story of my first broadbill and Nick's innovative deep water techniques to catch them. Fishing for broadbill swordfish is something I've always been interested in. And offshore during the day, in 200 to 300 metres of water, believe it or not, you've actually got to fish the bottom. Just how you do this, something that's beyond me. The guys have been rigging up here. We're on board B&M out of Islamorada in Florida. Two guys here, Nick and John, two of the experts on broadbill sword fishing during the day. How do you do it, John?
Well, we're going to have this double hook rig squid here. We're going to just start feeding it out. We got about a 100-foot leader here.
So what do you got here? A light?
Water-activated blinking light.
Yeah.
So we're going to send that out. That'll be the closest to the bait. And then the next one's an LP, multicolored light.
So you run two lights?
Two lights down there, yep.
That's amazing.
It's pitch black down there, so you want to light it up a little bit.
And we're in just over 250 fathoms of water, so about 1,600 feet.
Yep, 1,600, 1,700 feet of water. This is where our breakaway lead system right here.
Yep.
It's a little complex looking. And then we have a backup lead in case we lose our lead, we can hold the bottom for a little bit.
That's amazing. So your main weight is on this breakaway system here.
So when we hook a fish, we can this 20-pound tester will break, and then we'll have no
just
big
breaks
lead
it
on.
off.
We'll have
Okay. You've just zip tied it onto a to section of the leader.
Yep.
We'll
let that go. That out, and then we're gonna. When we're sending this out, we'll send that out. Once we get to the end of this, we're gonna send our concrete lead out. Now we're on our way to the bottom.
So John, now we're set up. The bait's down there deployed.
Bait's drifting along the bottom.
Yeah. Nick's just holding the boat, just moving it forward into the current.
We're moving backwards into the current right now to stay on
so
top
we drift.
of our line.
Okay, so you got 3 knots of current.
Yep.
So he's actually got the boat in reverse, just to hold bottom, hold it down there. And these big broadbills strictly feed on the bottom.
In the daytime, yeah.
Only one rod at a time.
Yep, because if you had 2 rods out there, you could have so much line out, you could really have some bad tangles and stuff like that. So.
And 80-pound braid.
Yep.
And you actually notice that you mark the braid, so you actually know where 1,600 feet is, 1,700 feet, 1,800 feet.
So we know how much line we have out.
Yeah.
It helps when you're fighting a fish too, you know how far away he is.
Yeah,
and stuff
okay.
like that.
This is one of my favorite spots for swordfish right here. We started out on top of a little mound, about 250 fathoms deep. We came up over top of it, dropped into a deep hole, went down to 300 fathoms, drifted about 1/3 of a mile through this little hole in this trench. Now right now we're right on the edge of it. There's a steep wall that comes up about 50 fathoms. So it comes up to about 220 fathoms on top. And we started out deep, drifting that hole and coming up shallow right now. We got a few more minutes on this drift. If we don't get a bite from a broadbill, we're gonna wind it up and do it again.
We're going to let out, we're going to troll away from it like this until we get about probably 1,500 feet of line out, and then we're going to stop and come back on it so we can get lined up straight on top of it, and then we'll spin the boat and back into the current to keep on top of our bait while we're just moving along with the Gulf Stream at about 3 to 3.5 knots. When we're holding the bottom, the boat will be backing into the current to stay on top of our bait, because the surface current's moving usually a lot faster than the current down deep, so we'll have to keep the boat in reverse usually to back up to stay on top of our bait.
When you're fishing for the broadbills, the bite's usually very subtle in the daytime. You'll be watching that rod tip sometimes all day. You never get a bite. Other times, every time you hit bottom, you get a bite within a minute. And you just sit there and watch that tip, and it might just move an inch or two, just like a little tink tink. And there's no telling. It might be a 20-pounder, it could be a 200 or 300 pounder. And usually they play with the bait or whack at the lights before they eat it. We've actually caught them with our lights in their stomach where they had knocked them off the line and ate them. Other time, well, occasionally they'll grab the bait and go and you'll hook them like that. But more times than not, you'll see them start messing around with the bait and the lights. They'll just be watching and all of a sudden you'll see a little dip in the rod tip, you know, a quick little dip. And then you gotta play with them, maybe bring it up or down. Once in a while you can hold it steady and they'll eat it and you'll hook them. But they're tricky little fish. And you got to be patient with them, and you got to sit there and you got to watch that rod. If you see a bite and no one's watching, or if you don't see the bite because no one's watching, you might miss your opportunity. Bill, it's been a long day. We've been fishing. It's our first bite. We got him on right now, taking drag. I don't know if he's going to stay on or not, but we're tight finally with a broadbill without a doubt. And we need an angler in the chair. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that he stays on there.
Let's do it.
It's brutal out here, 100 degrees.
Well, finally, after 9 drops, 10th drop, and the deepest of the lot, about over 2,000 feet, we've hooked up. Mind you, it's the end of the day. And this broadbill hung down probably for 15 minutes on the bottom, which apparently is unusual. This is just amazing fishing. Huge weights, dropping baits down to 1,500, 1,800 and now 2,000 feet. One might say we're in a little bit right here. Still got the fish on. These keys have got a harpoon in the shoulder, which apparently is legal. The guys here have got a permit to actually take a broadbill. So I don't have much choice in that, it's coming aboard. And we had an earlier gaff shot. John got a harpoon into it and he's still connected to it. And we're looking just to get a gaff shot. Let's get this thing back up.
We caught one, Bill. I know you don't like to keep a lot of fish. A broadbill is one fish we do keep some of, but he's a beauty. He's probably 150 pounds, really nice fish. Waited all day, patient paid off, we got one.
I think this fish came in really early too. I mean, it didn't jump. I'd probably say about 35, 40 minutes max. We got at the back of the boat. And boy, it'll hang about then. Here we go. Well, Nick, thanks, mate.
Hey, congratulations.
It's a bit first broadbill? Yeah. Well, yeah, first broadbill for me.
You caught a beauty.
Yeah. East coast of USA is probably a little bit different to the east coast of Australia. And it's a bit sad that you put him on the deck, but hey, that's the way you do it, boys. So
we take a few here. We do release some.
Yeah.
We do keep some.
That's
as well,
just
though.
amazing. I would say
trying to keep them, take them. And I mean, look at the thickness in this fish. It's just
they're just huge, yeah.
They're built
all the way from the shoulders down to the caudal.
Yep, and I mean tip to tip, it's almost as long as the cockpit here. You know, so fish has got to be at least 8 feet long, 9 feet long.
Get nervous.
Okay.